All right, everybody, welcome to our Former Athlete Society accountability call. This is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. I'm joining you via Zoom, being right here, YouTube, wherever it might be, and I am bringing you some content regarding how you can build the accountability, you can build the habits, the disciplines, the behaviors necessary to be the very best version of yourself, right? The self that you want to be when you are in college, you can reclaim it now that you're a professional. There's no excuses why you can't go out and chase the very thing that you've been after since you were a college athlete, well post-collegiately. So I am orienting some things as far as my screen goes, just so that we are recording and we are live, which it looks that way. So I just want to welcome you back to this accountability call with our Former Athlete Society. If you are tuning in, then you know that it is just you and me, right? And that is perfect. That means we can get a little bit more honest, a little bit more real, and we can have a conversation that hopefully cuts through the noise, right? So this is what we're trying to do every 9 a.m. on Tuesday, is bring some accountability to your behaviors, your habits, your disciplines, things like that. Today, I want to hit on 4 different specific ideas that's been bouncing around in my head lately. These aren't just sort of motivational one-liners, recycled coaching cliches. These are ideas that I think we all need to hear, and especially more so if you're a college athlete trying to rebuild or retrain and reharness some of the consistency that you once had with nutrition, with training, and honestly just showing up for yourself. That's really, really important. So one of the things I want to talk about is you don't need any more motivation. You just need friction control. So what do I mean by that? So let me say it straight, right? Discipline doesn't mean white knuckling your way through workouts or eating clean with a perfect little halo over your head. Real consistency, it's about friction control. So you might be wondering, all right, coach, what does that mean? Give me an example of what friction control is. Here's one example. One of our guys in our Skool community kept missing his morning training session. I see this time and time again, not because he wasn't motivated, but because his gym clothes were in a pile under last week's laundry. So what did we do? What did I recommend? He starts sleeping in his training gear. It's that simple, right? He woke up, he had his training shirt on, and immediately he could go and begin his workout. This is the shirt I'm going to wear. I can go for my morning run. It's something that simple. But oftentimes, it's the simplicity of sort of behavior change that makes real, lasting, meaningful changes. So, you want to be consistent? Reduce the number of decisions you need to make. That's not laziness. That's design. That's how you stack wins. So if you can manufacture an environment where it is easier to make the good habits, or manufacture an environment so it's harder to make bad habits, both of which are really good strategies to winning and making consistent gains towards the things that you're searching for, right? Now, second thing I wanted to talk about on our accountability call is that you're not inconsistent. Most of the time, I don't see athletes that are really inconsistent with things. What happens is you're just forgetting to anchor your routines in something that's important for you. So what I mean by that is back when you were participating in sport, whether it's college, high school, wherever it might be, right? Everything ran off anchors. You had lifts at set times, you had team meals at another times, your practice block was this, your game day ritual was that. All of this is anchored in a routine, in a habit around the clock, right? So now, chances are you're probably floating. And what do I mean by that? You need to anchor your routines, or anchor routines are what gives your day structure. So one of my favorite is sort of the bookend routine. And what I mean by that is 90 minutes after waking and 90 minutes before bed, those are your anchor zones. So stack 2 or 3 behaviors in each window. So it might be go for a walk. It might be drinking hydration. It might be journaling. It might be food prep. It might be whatever works, right? You always know you have your first 90 minutes and you have your last 90 minutes. So you can really try to build in the habits, the disciplines, the behaviors that you need to in those small windows. So what I mean by this is don't try to organize the entire day. Just own those two anchors. Third thing I want to share with us today is that your palate is trained. It's not broken. So let's talk about what that means regarding your nutrition, right? So, because again, let's be honest, nutrition matters when you are a professional more so than it probably mattered when you were in your playing days. When you were 19 to 22 years of age, you could probably get away with a lot of different things nutritionally for better, but oftentimes here for worse, that you can't get away with now that you're a little bit older, when your metabolism starts to slow down. So your strategies nutritionally needs to change, certainly as your body is getting a little bit older. So I've had athletes tell me, Coach, I crave junk food. I guess I got no willpower, Coach. And that's not it. What you got is that you have now trained your palate, your mouthfeel, what you crave for that hyper processed stuff. And that rewires your taste perception, much like a bad computer algorithm, something like that, right? But the same way that it was trained, it can be retrained. So you can retrain it to actually crave the good foods that you were once eating. So do you want to start retraining or resetting your taste buds? I would recommend really trying to go through like a 7-day reset protocol. And this isn't a fad, this isn't a cleanse, this isn't a diet, nothing like that. It's really just taking a dedicated week of looking at trying to consume no added sugar, no fake sweeteners, and just eating real food. Your taste buds will probably freak out for a few days. But day by day, maybe at the 4th day, those roasted sweet potatoes, I'm telling you, will hit differently. And it's just because your palate is now trained or retrained back to actually craving some of the foods that you once had. So your palate isn't broken. It's just it's been coached by the wrong team for too long. It's been coached by the sweets and the candies and all the sugars and those things. If you retrain it or get recoached by the actual good, healthy, real foods, you'll find that your gym progress will improve. You'll find that your health will improve. You will find that your metabolism will improve. All of those things will get better. The fourth and last thing I want to recommend today, right? We're almost like 10 minutes into this. I try to keep these accountability calls close to about 15 to 20 minutes, no longer than that. So I try to keep it small, incremental, every Tuesday, 9 a.m. You can join me and we'll share some of the things that we're working on together, right? And we'll state what our intent is for the week so that you can hold me accountable as a coach, also as an athlete. I'm getting after it too. I woke up, I did my cardio this morning. I would encourage you probably need to do your cardio as well, right? The fourth accountability piece for this week is this. And you're not trying, okay, this is how I'm going to phrase it. You're not trying to be shredded. So you're trying to stay dangerous. And let me explain this one. A lot of former athletes chase aesthetics post-college. And so what I mean by that is that's the six-pack. That's your shredded arms. That's, yoked out of your mind, whatever it is, just swoger, whatever it might be, right? They chase an aesthetic goal. And listen, I fall guilty of this too. There's not a single person that probably doesn't want to look better, feel better, play better, perform better, right? But what I think that this mindset often sets us up for, and it can set us up for burnout, because chasing aesthetics can be really fragile because it's tied to lighting and body fat and mirrors and all of this stuff. What I mean by staying dangerous, right? That's different. That's about moving well. That's about being strong. That's about keeping your edge. That's about waking up knowing you can take on the day. Whatever it might be, you can take it on head front. Not because you look fit, not because your arms are bigger or more toned or anything like that. It's because you are capable. You're capable. So I like to tell people in our Former Athlete Society this all the time. Stay dangerous. Stay capable. Aesthetics, that's a side effect, right? Those things will come when you chase the right things, when you chase performance. The aesthetics will come. Now, that said, I think that probably wraps up our accountability call today. And even if it's just me staring in this camera and talking to you, if you're watching this one-on-one, right? I'm showing up for you. I'm showing up to give you that advice, to give you that motivation, to help you form these habits. I think they're really, really important. Because I know this. If you're trying to show up for yourself, I'm going to be here and I'm going to show up for you. If anything here resonated, don't let it just sit in your head. Apply one thing, one strategy, one habit, one discipline. And if you need support with that, that's why we built this community. That's why we built the Former Athlete Society. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, if you want more of this one-on-one, if you want more of our accountability calls, if you want to have this rapport back and forth between a coach and you as a former athlete, then I need you to go over to adamringler.com/Skool, Skool. Learn more about this community. Because I promise if you're a former athlete that's struggling to get back in shape, that's struggling to balance your habits and your time commitments with family and professional life, this Former Athlete Society can help you. Because I've helped literally hundreds, if not thousands, of athletes reclaim their body and their performance as they graduate and move on from college years. So if that sounds like you, head over to there, learn more about it. But if you're like, Adam, I want to skip all of that, just give me what I need to know, go to skool.com, Skool.com/former athlete, and you can sign up today. As always, I appreciate you. I will see you not only next week, but I will actually see you Thursday. Because why? On Thursday, we have our question and answer call at 9 a.m. So you can bring the questions, I'll provide the answers, and we'll try to give you some great advice going into the weekend of how you can balance your health, your performance, and everything else related to your training. So that said, I appreciate you. And until next time, I will see you later.